The Outlanders Journey. Tier 1, Level 0. Chapter 20. Elise, you've returned to the cafe. Across the room is Elothor, who shows up this time as a young elven man. He pretends to read a book as he listens to your explanation of your entire situation, displaying no discernible emotions on his face. After you're done, he telegraphs, "I don't understand why you did what you did. Why involve yourself in such matters in the first place?" You sip your spiced black tea. She's a child, a little girl that looks at most 12 years old, and he's been there so long he doesn't even know his age. He's an adult with the mind of a child. I had to help them, or I don't know how I'd ever live with myself. But to put yourself in such danger, and then to put your family in danger, how likely do you think mother and father's names were also exposed? I don't know, you say. You're sure you weren't followed here? Yeah, I made sure. Elothor licks his index finger and flips the page. This is my fault. He shakes his head. Father was right that we shouldn't have played those games when you were little. What games? I shouldn't have filled your head with all those confusing ideas. Now you're flagrantly going around as a man. I wish we'd stop all that sooner. That's completely unrelated to this. Your demeanor's too delicate to convince anyone that you're a man. And shape-shifting yourself into a pure elf? Of course this professor spotted you from a mile away. How could you be so stupid? I told you that's not related. You can feel your shoulders tensing up. It doesn't help that you're acting like a petulant child around him, and you have no sound argument against him. You know he's probably right after all. Elise, I know you have a good heart, but your impulsiveness has never served you well, and now you're in over your head. He sighs. Luckily, I think the professor knowing my name isn't the end of the world. He can't trace who I am by name alone. Consider this your lucky chance to run. You take a deep breath. Run away with them too, right? Sure, Elise. And how do you plan to get them out? What do you think you can do? I reckon if they were able to break out once on their own, they can probably do it again. I presume Sanos has added more security measures, but with scrolls, I can dispel anything that's too hard to physically break. Dispel magic is a high-level spell. I know, but I can do it. Elothor pinches the bridge of his nose. He groans and closes his eyes. Sometimes I don't know if you really are a talented spellcaster or stupidly overconfident. I cast Sending from a scroll without any help, and it's the same spell level. The telepathic connection ends, and Elothor reestablishes the link. You can't help them, he continues. You have to get yourself out of there, first and foremost. We'll think of something for them once you're safe. But we can't do anything once I'm away from them. The whole point is that I'm an insider who can come and go. No, you can't stay. You're a changeling and he knows. He will ruin you. 2 more elven students step into the cafe, carrying their spellbooks and wands in their arms as they chatter loudly. When you were still a student, you rejected every offer to study with someone or to go out drinking with a group. Every interaction you remember carried that overwhelming dread of exposure, and all you wished for by the time you left the academy was a single, trustworthy friend. I'm so tired of being helpless, you say. In what way are you helpless? You had everything. You had a spot at the greatest school in the world. Lots of even the richest elves envied you. You squandered that not because you were helpless, but because you chose to do it. And now you fucked up your second chance, too. What second chance? Learn magic from a monster like him? Get educated at a place that condones him? I didn't apply to the academy for this shit. I chose to go because I thought my magic could help people. And that's still true. You can't save the world until you've taken care of yourself first, and your family. You tap your fingers against the rim of your teacup, listening to the clinking and watching the tiny ripples in the water. I'm sorry, you telegraph. I really am. I'm sorry I'm such a mess, and I'm sorry I can't seem to do anything right. I've already decided I'm going to help them. I told them as much, and I have to follow through. Your brother closes the book and leans back in his chair, staring up at the ceiling. Why can't you just think things through? I'm sorry. I can't let you do it, he telegraphs. Then I can't keep talking to you. It's either I do it alone or I do it with your help. And it's all right if you don't want to help me. If you don't want to be a part of this situation, I won't blame you. But I've made my choice. There's a long pause. You glance over to see him planting his face into his hands. What do you want from me? Do you need me in there casting the spells? No, I don't need you that close. Then what are you planning? We need a way to get out of there fast. If you can pick us up in one of your delivery routes to Harrington, we won't have to take up that much space in the carriage. Fucking hells, says Elithor, shaking his head. I'm sorry, you say. So, you plan to take them to Harrington. You think we have storage space for them to live in the warehouse or something? You think my boss will hire them as workers? No, you say. When those two get out, they need a way to go as north as possible. I want to escort them to the border of the INA. Oh, no, no, no. No, Elise. I'm sorry. I have to. I might barely be able to get a carriage to you, but leaving Harrington with them is out of the question. They're children. They can't survive on their own out there. And what makes you think you can? You're a child, too. You realize your shoulders have been tensed up this entire time, and you're shaking. The patrons nearby have noticed. Your hands are gripped tightly around your cup, on the verge of breaking it. You smile at the patrons and relax. To be frank, you telegraph, I don't know. You don't know, says Elithor. Of course. That's always your answer. You don't know because after you make more stupid decisions like this, I'm the one who cleans up after you. Me. Every time. I'm sorry. Stop. At least don't lie about it. I'm sorry. Tell me, what good will you do leaving Harrington with them? Are you really giving up everything for them? I want to make sure they make it home. And if it means I don't come back, then so be it. Elise. You know me, Elithor. I've hated this my whole life. New Everlawn, BC, the Academy, home, all of it. I don't want to be a part of any of it. You glance at him before turning away again. Everything we do, it's like we can't even acknowledge our own existence. I can't talk to you face to face. We have to do all this hiding and disguising and pretending to be strangers just to talk in public. We have to converse telepathically across the room and keep a straight face the whole time. I don't know how you can let this go on. That's just how it is. It's a protective measure for survival. It doesn't mean we're any less familial because of it. But that's the point. It's the fact that we have to live like this at all. No one I've ever met or talked to feels like a real person to me because I'm putting on a show for them, to please them, including family, including you. The telepathic link breaks. You establish the connection again. Do you think, says Elithor, that traveling out of New Everlawn with those two will make you a truer person? A better person? I know how you are. Some new opportunity, some new thing drops itself into your lap and you think it's your true calling. You think this time it's going to be the thing that'll make you feel whole. I know. I understand. But sooner or later, you'll see that none of these things will fulfill that. Only family will. You cross your arms over the table and put your head down. I'm not going to say anything more because I know you don't believe what you said. Elise, please, I'm asking you to be reasonable. I've been through the exact same thing as you. I've thought the exact same thoughts. Yes, you're right. This society is not built for us. It is actively hostile to our kind, and because of that, we've had to take extreme measures, but you know the alternatives are even more deadly. There is no place that will truly accept us. This is the curse we were given, and our choices are to either find some semblance of stability or give in to the chaos of the wild. Do you think our nomadic ancestors were happier than us? If they could see us now, they would kill to have our lives. Elise, you don't see the kinds of people who leave the border, but I do on my delivery runs. I see who travels on that road. Can you imagine the desperation those people must be in? to throw away everything they have for that slim chance of a better life out west. They only do it because there are no options for them. But that's not you. That's not us. What you see as your curse is a way for you to escape. You can create a new identity, a new life, start fresh in a way that no one else can. We can report the professor to the authorities under a completely different persona. We can do it together, and we'll be safe. And those two will be freed, and the professor will be punished. I'm begging you to please think this through. I'm not going west like those people, you say, and I don't trust the authorities to take care of those two. All I'm asking for is to help them get out, nothing more. And I can't risk sending you out there to die. Do you understand the danger you're putting yourself in? They're closing the road for the winter soon, and you're leaving now. But I'm already in danger. Sooner or later, they'll find us. I nearly exposed us just by coming out here, just by working for that lunatic. Everything we do, everywhere we go, I feel watched. It doesn't matter if I stay at the academy or graduate with honors or land a lucrative career in the magic industry. In the end, all my accolades won't matter, because they'll find me, inevitably. No, I simply don't believe that, he says. Changelings have lived here for generations, long before the elves arrived. This is our true home. This is our land. Do you know how happy I was to see your acceptance letter into Flamora? Even now, I envy you for all the talents that you have. You had father's hopes, not me. But when the moment came for you to go to that school, I understood it was an important victory for all of us. What you could have learned at Flamora would have saved us all. You are born with this gift. You will be successful if you just stay here and stay on track. You scoff. What good? What benefits can you give to your community? More ways to hide? You telegraph to him. Then I hope that gift lets me escort those two home. Elise, I'm begging you. And I'm not asking for you to accept it. It's either I do this alone, or you help me execute the plan. If you want to come with me to the border, or just to Harrington, that's fine. Do what you can, or do nothing. But I've made up my mind. If you're not here to help, then I'm leaving. For good. The telepathic link disconnects once more. You no longer wish to glance over at him. You've said everything you needed to. You stare at the massive leaves at the bottom of your teacup. You're getting cold. You hear footsteps approaching you, and you turn to see Elithor standing over you, eyes wet with tears. You peer around the room to see if anyone has noticed. A few of the tables closest to you have looked over. Just Harrington, he telegraphs. In his hands, he is holding a neatly wrapped gift, tied with ribbons and a bow on top. If I help you, then you must promise you will come back with me. Northern Harrington is where my last delivery stop is, and it's the closest I can take them. After that, I'll give them some supplies and maps and whatever they need to get to the INA, on their own. But you will come home with me. You'll start a new life, and we'll work through all your grievances together. Please. This is a reasonable compromise. You bite your lip. If you can take us just to Harrington, I will come back home with you. You must promise me. I promise, you say. He wipes his nose and eyes with his sleeve. Around you, the other patrons are watching, possibly thinking this is a sad and desperate romantic situation. The judgment in their eyes, jumping to conclusions about who you are, and the discomfort of being seen as an ex-lover of your own brother. This is why you want to leave. You've always been so impulsive and yet so uncommitted, he telegraphs. It always gets you into trouble. I'm sorry. He places the gift on your table. This didn't come in time for spring coming, he says out loud. It's very late, but I wanted to give it to you. What is it? Open it. You pull apart the silky ribbon laces and delicately remove the paper wrapping, careful not to tear it. You see what appears to be a gray robe, plain-looking, made of soft wool. You recall an old play that you and your family had watched when you were a child. The actor had changed his wardrobe in a flash, his green cloak swirling around him as it transformed into a shimmering red tunic with gold laces. Later, you would come to find this was a special magical outfit called a shift weave. He smiles at you for the first time in a long while. You jump out of your chair and into his arms. Some of the confused patrons around you give you tepid smiles. "Just tell me the time and place," says Elathor, re-upping the telepathic link. "I'll be there, and I'll help you get away safely." You nod. "Thank you." "You've always been such a spoiled brat, and I've had to clean up every mess after you. That's all I'm good for to you, right?" "I'm sorry." "Don't get caught by the professor." "I won't." "Run away if it turns sour." "I will." "I love you." "I love you too."